Hey everyone, welcome to the October 26th episode of the Nat Daddy Weekly Roundup. It is Thursday. It is the Thursday before Halloween. Hope everyone has an exciting Halloween plans this weekend. Winnipeg Comic Con is going on this weekend, so if you're in the Winnipeg area, go check that out. But that's not why you're here. You're here for some book reviews, so let's jump into that. Before we start off there, let's look at some of our sponsors. Let's thank the guys over at 204 Comics. That's where we get all our books in that reading. So we get our pull list as well too. So we get our FOC in there, get that final order cutoff stuff in early. Make sure we get those books. Definitely check them out. With the Comic Con going on this weekend, they have a huge sale at their store as well too. So check that out as well. Also with us, we have our own stuff. We got our own exclusives. All of those are on our website as well too. And if you just want to reach out to me through the Facebook page or Messenger or let's see any of the other ways that we have possible, the website and that too. If you want to avoid some shipping, just reach out to me. And yeah, those are all available as well too. And again, last week we announced that this is the final cover for the newest one that we have there, working with Danny Harrell there. Those guys put it together a wicked anniversary cover for the new Josie and the Pussycats book. Will be coming out, I believe it's November 8th. So coming up pretty fast. Again, 60th anniversary of Josie and the Pussycats. And we have another one coming up from the same group of guys as well too, coming up pretty soon, but we'll show that one a little bit later. Stay tuned for that. Speaking of those guys, we'll be reviewing a couple books from Danny and that as well too. We got issue 2 Rebel Girls and the newest series Jungle Drama coming up. But before we can start all that, we got to jump into before we get to the books, we got one more thing to kind of go through. We got the Things Are Getting Dicey coming up this weekend, weekly tags show. I don't know what else I can say. This weekend I'm hosting. Last weekend was Stefan's turn, so this time it's my turn. It is the horror episode being Halloween weekend. So anything horror related, I'm just going to leave it as that. I don't know if they've actually set a parameter or not, but I got 4 fabulous artists coming with me. From top to bottom, we got artist and tattoo artist Nathan Burton Phillips. We got sculptor Thomas Day, Paul Legimico, and Casey Wilson will be joining us as well too. So I've worked with all 4 of those, and I enjoy working with them. I actually think I worked with all 4 of them at the same time last time, maybe even. We'll see. But oh no, that was Nathan wasn't able to make it that last time. But either way, we'll see you at 6 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday for the Things Are Getting Sketchy. They'll be on this channel and all the Things Are Getting Sketchy channels as well too. So do check it out. All right, let's jump into some new books for you guys. Again, I got around 20 or so. It seems to be a good number in that. This was a massive week for books, so I got 20 good books here that either new or new series or almost new series, so definitely check that as well too. But yeah, there was a lot of other great books that I just didn't cover that are out as well too, so definitely check them out. First one on the list, we'll actually look at it now, even though it does come up a little bit later in the show. It is, let's see here. You know what? I'll do it later. Yeah, I'll just do it later when it comes up in the show. First off, I read digitally was Hellboy. this time where there's always a Hellboy book coming out every week, and that they're hit and miss. They're usually kind of the same. This one I quite enjoyed, though. Kind of goes back to some of that original kind of early '90s Hellboy stuff. It's giant robot Hellboy, where this cult or this group of scientists have managed to kidnap Hellboy and strap him in a lab and turned his mind into the operating system or the driving force behind this giant robot. So basically, a giant mecha Hellboy, and he's out to fight some monsters in that as well too. So kind of a neat story there, kind of funny. Basically, what you expect, and it's the first of three. So do check it out. I thought it was pretty funny. Next on our list from DC, we have Amazon's Attack. It's the beginning of another limited series here, picking up where some of the other Amazon theme stuff has been building to lately. It kind of has that similar feeling in the Marvel universe, how the world's always against the mutants. But on the flip side here in DC, instead of mutants, it's these Amazons. Someone has staged an attack to make it look like some Amazons have caused this big international incident, and now the world's all against them, and now these other Amazons are responding, and so now there's this big war going on, and there's already tensions in there. You see Mary Marvel on the top there, and you're wondering why is she part of the Amazons, and not thinking Wonder Woman and all the other Amazon warriors. Mary Marvel's powers now are not actually powered from Shazam; they're actually powered from an Amazon god. So that's something recent that ties in here as well too. So it's all right if you're following any of the Wonder Woman and Amazon stuff. This is definitely a good book for you. Really good art in there as well, though. From Marvel, Halloween related, we have Hallow's Eve here. It's a one-shot, The Big Night. So in here, it's Halloween Eve. Everyone's out doing trick-or-treating in that. And Eve here is just out walking around. In her form there is, or now her kind of a witch form or ghost form, whatever you want to call it, because she's able to in a costume. And she, comes across some and has some adventures with with her mask powers here. And if anyone who's not familiar with it, Eve has this bag of plenty type of thing where she pulls out these Halloween masks, and when she put these masks on, she gets these powers out of the masks. So, and what we've seen in the previous is, she's pulled out things like werewolf mask or Frankenstein mask or a ghost mask, Dracula, witch, kind of conventional monsters, got their powers. But in this issue here, she pulls out like a hero mask. She pulls out a Captain America, I believe. So she ends up having this hero feeling as well too. So fun little adventure like that. I really like this character more and more. They show her. It's fun. I like it. From Marvel, another new one. We have another new series, another new volume of Captain Marvel starting. I really wasn't looking forward to reading this book because I'm not a huge Captain Marvel fan, and also there's like a new volume of Captain Marvel like almost once or twice a year. So this coincides with the new movie coming out pretty soon. So I reviewed it for the channel because of number one, and I was pleasantly surprised that I actually did like it. Has awesome artwork in it. The take on this time around is not just continuing on the usual stuff that's been going on in her life, which is going on as normal. But it's all background in here. What's happening here is someone else, a space thief, has actually come across a pair of the Nega bands, the bands that the original Captain Marvel used to wear, and what Korizar used to wear. Those up the armbands that give the power. And much like the original Captain Marvel, that when someone clang those armbands together, they would switch places with Captain Marvel. The Captain Marvel would go to the negative zone, and that person would become like this ultra strong, powerful person. And that's what happens in here. So now Captain Marvel and this thief change spots all the time, have this adventure. So we'll see where it goes from there. So kind of fun little kind of mismatched buddy type movie type of thing. So we'll see where it goes from there. But again, I enjoyed this a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I think it ties back to that original kind of Captain Marvel stuff, when he was exchanges spots with Rick Jones, kind of like Firestorm with Robbie and the Professor. Also from Marvel this week at number one, starting off a limited series as well, we have very Halloween related Marvel Zombies Red, White, and Blood, or sorry, Black, White, and Blood. Instead of the blood, it's usually red, and this is what's been going on for a couple of years with all the titles and all the Marvel books and DC books as well. You get a few stories in here, and there are three, and they're all anthology stories with the zombies here, and they're all in black and white, and again have these accents of blood. So you got a Spider-Man one in here that's pretty decent with him having to deal with some zombies that were once close friends and family to him. Got a Wolverine one in here as well too, and a Daredevil one as well. So Daredevil one wasn't that great, but the other two were okay. So if you're a Marvel Zombies fan, definitely check it out. Last one I read digitally this week was Green Lantern. This is the Alan Scott one. Much like we've been covering the last few weeks here, almost a month now, DC has been pushing a new Golden Age that's kind of revamping and reintroducing all these original Golden Age characters. We've seen them do it with the Flash. We've seen them do it with Green Lantern here now. This one was okay too. I didn't mind it too much. This one doesn't have any kind of take place at all in the present time. It seems to be all in the past. You still have Alan Scott here, where he's kind of been retconned as a gay man, and they show here how back in the 40s when he was with the JSA, how J. Edgar Hoover there actually blackmails him to become a member of the JSA because he has this information that he's gay, and he's going to release it because that's, of course, a big no-no back then. So he gets blackmailed into actually become a member of the JSA, and we'll see how it goes from there. So neat little take on that. Yeah, I like what they're doing with trying to reintroduce all these characters and that. So pretty cool book there. All right, let's continue on with some of the stuff I read physically this week. First off, and it was my pick of the week because I was very much looking forward to this because, like I said, it is a favorite of mine all the time. It is a Dracula book coming out, and it's also by Tynion and Simmons, so also two of my favorite creators, Tynion being one of my favorite writers, and Simmons being one of my favorite artists because he always does this creepy stuff. And this one also happens to be my cover of the week as well, because it has this amazing cover of Dracula on there. And again, with the dress here, you can see that the lace work here is actually real lace. That looks like he's kind of added to the picture. So really enjoyed that. Fairly standard interpretation of the Universal monsters, story of Dracula, or Renfield and all that as well too. Really creepy, dark artwork in here from Simeons that fits in perfectly for this whole Dracula theme. Yeah, if anyone is familiar with the Department of Truth, definitely that's what that kind of artwork we have in here. So this takes is very, very familiar to the Dracula setting. But again, they do have a little bit of twists in that in there as well too, to update as well too. So this is the first miniseries of they're introducing all of these Universal monster ones. But I really like this one so far. Dracula from Skybound, which is a part of Image. From Tinian and Simmons, Dracula. Definitely pick this up. And great, again, Halloween related. So this book would have been awesome even if it wasn't Halloween related. So. And a few different covers for that are pretty cool as well too. Book that I wasn't going to cover right away, but I actually ended up reading it, and I just ended up covering it anyways. I'm sure we'll cover it again in a few weeks because this is just the ash can spinning out of the pages of Good Boy. This is a bad girl. She is a kind of a hitman cat, much like the in Good Boy. You got like the John Wick, but it's a dog that survives instead of the in the real John Wick where it's the the puppy that dies and the master that survives. So spinning from that universe, you have this female character here called Bad Girl. She's like I said, a cat. Awesome artwork in here. So if anyone did like some of the Good Boy stuff, this is definitely just kind of spinning right out of it. Again, this is just the Ashcan, so it just has a few pages in here. You see this character sitting in a bar, just trying to enjoy herself, and she ends up getting into a fight, and in the end, some kind of government people come in looking for her and asking for her help in that, and going from there because they got to buy her to kind of help her get out in that. Anyways, kind of throw that challenge in there as well too. So yeah, I enjoyed this so far. Like I said, we will double back to this one when I do get the full issue in that. But this was a good read though so far, even though it was just the Ashcan. So that would probably be a couple weeks. All right, so like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, talking about Danny Harrell over there with that Josie and the Pussycat books. We got 2 books from Keen Spot this week involving Danny. We have Rebel Girls #2 and Jungle Drama #1. We'll start off with Rebel Girls. This book's been awesome. Oh, sorry, this is Jungle Drama. This book's pretty awesome. It definitely has that kind of Veronica and Betty feel to it. Definitely has that look to it as well too. And the character in the middle is not Archie, but he's kind of Archie feeling as well too. So what it is you have these 2 women here. They're back in kind of like this jungle caveman type of age. And they're fighting over this hunky boy, and that's kind of like the Archie character there. And they're trying to win him over as much as possible. They're hanging out at the springs and everything, just trying to get his attention. And they're doing everything possible, every dirty little trick to try to one-up each other to attract this fellow and that, and even like removing their tops and that. So this book is a little risque. It doesn't actually show nudity yet, but it's pretty close in that. And it all comes down to kind of like an Archie story type of thing, where the girls have to kind of team up together to work together to eliminate the other competition to improve their odds. So silly fun here. I really quite enjoyed it because again, it has that kind of jungle feel to it, that jungle setting, but just a little bit more mature, a little bit more risque than your regular Archie, Betty and Veronica book. So lots of fun here. Yeah, I really liked it a lot. Jungle Drama. And also from the same people, pretty much, is the series Rebel Girls 2. We covered Rebel Girls 1. This is a rock band, a female punk rock band who is wanted by the devil and to be signed with them. And they're going to kind of fight off a zombie apocalypse at the same time. Lots of fun here. Definitely an adult book, even more than the Jungle Drama here. Lots of swearing, sexual innuendo in that here too. Some nudity and definitely some violences and gore as well too. So, like I said, this is about these young women that are rock punk bands starting off, and they're pretty shitty in that. And this one guy's always trying to sign them, show up and be their kind of mentor in that. And he works for the devil. He's trying to get them signed to his contract. All at the same time. It's kind of Armageddon's going on. So lots of fun going on with these books here too. I'm going to have Danny on the show pretty soon, and we're going to have an interview and talk about all this and some upcoming projects as well too. So stay tuned for that. Have a fun interview with Danny Harrell coming up soon. All right. From Scout Comics, we have The Greylock. Neat book here. I wasn't... I forgot all about this book until I saw it on the shelf there, and then when I picked it up, I remembered it. Oh yeah, this sounded interesting. It is a kind of like a cowboy adventure type of thing, where it's this one guy who is magic is controlled by like corporations and everything, and this guy doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to go by their laws and that, so they call him the Greylock because he kind of stays outside of their borders. He's kind of a bit of an assassin in that too. So this kind of his story of almost like a Western type of thing where he needs to be hired by some people and that, but he is kind of like an outlaw because the normal society, the Big Brother type of people, control magic, and he uses it not within their rules. So the Greylock, kind of a neat one. From Boom Studios, this was a kind of a cool one. I really quite enjoyed it. It's called Slow Burn. It's about some people who were doing a big steal, a big robbery, and what they thought was going to be drugs or jewels or money ends up being a violin, Stradivarius. And at the same time, during the caper, one of their people get hurt, so they're trying to hold out in this town at this farm, and then they kind of take the family captive in that, and they're on one of those cities that's kind of abandoned because it was once a coal mining town, and the coal underneath the town is all caught on fire. So the town itself slowly kind of burning to death, can collapse at any time, and the coal can be going on for hundreds of years burning in that. And these people too also have a pretty heavy drug addiction. So with this all going on, you see this is going out, and they figure out at the end that they're doing all this. It ends up being like this Stradivarius violin that they can't pawn or whatever like that. They're just these hoods. So, but pretty interesting start so far. We'll see what happens afterwards. Some really great artwork in here. Slow burn. It's kind of like a crime caper that goes bad. From, I think it's Image. Yeah, from Image. This book I quite enjoyed. A little bit thicker book, so again a little bit more expensive. Actually, like $6.99, so not too bad for the size of book. Hardcover stock there. Paladin of Axes. You see the guy on the cover there. He is a long-time roadie, but he's like the super most respected ultimate roadie out there. And he can't handles everything possible instrument-wise. That's why it's called the Paladin of Axes. He's traveling with this band, and on the way home after the last fight, their plane ends up crashing, and he ends up being horribly injured and should be dying, but he hasn't died yet. And at the same time, just before he's about to die, as he's lying there on the forest floor from this accident, these gnomes pop up through like this dimension and take the guitar that was next to him, and they say it's a cursed guitar. They're gathering up all these cursed things, and he begs them, for them to save him and that. So after a little bit, they end up taking him down into this dimensional door, and they fix him with their magic and that, and he ends up becoming like an agent for them, where they send him around to get all these cursed weapons and that, or not weapons, these cursed instruments and that. So it's kind of fun there. He's cursed that if he chooses to leave them and not be a part of this, then he's just he'll just die again right away because he's been so horribly mangled from this plane accident. So neat book. I quite enjoyed it. It's pretty funny too. These dwarves are pretty funny as well too. But yeah, neat story about this guy that has to do these gnomes bidding to chase down cursed instruments. So pretty cool book. From Image, we have a new one from Tony S. Daniel. It's called Eden One. This one's kind of neat. Really great artwork in it. So I quite like the detail and the fine lines in here as well. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. What it is, it's about the world where is kind of against war against witches, and the witches have what their main, I guess, strategy in this is they have this thing called the Edenwood, which is kind of like this haunted forest that keeps constantly spreading throughout the world. And the rest of the world, is trying to shut this down so it doesn't kind of infect them and take it over. And at the same time, there's like a regular war going on. So at the beginning of this story here, we see a few characters that get lost in this ever-expanding woods. And towards the end of the story, we see some of these characters have grown up. They're still surviving. They're still fighting this war, and they end up killing one of these monsters that come out of this ever-expanding forest. to find out it's their friend that they lost all these years ago. Back when the story first started, and that ran in there looking for someone. So maybe he's been turned into like this monster creature now. I'm not too sure. Kind of a neat story starting so far. Definitely needs to be read more to see what happens in that. But that's kind of the gist so far. It's kind of this ever expanding haunted forest from the witches in their attempts to kind of at war against the world with regular people. All right. Got ourselves another crime caper here with a vehicle. This is from Dark Horse. It's called Drive Like Hell. This one I really enjoyed. It's about this other couple. They need a new vehicle for a new job, and this one guy ends up grabbing this awesome hot rod car he sees outside of a bar. Little does he realize that this car was actually the devil's car that was out there being kind of worked on. It was being delivered back to some of the devil's henchmen, and where he jacked it. So now him and his girlfriend, they go out, they do this job, which goes wrong because again now these henchmen for the devil are out there looking for their vehicle. So kind of really fun. I quite enjoyed it. Some really great artwork in here as well too. You kind of see like this demonic car, and like you said, these hitmen for the devil now who are chasing down this couple, trying to get the vehicle back. So I think they finally kind of realized towards the end that maybe he jacked the vehicle from the wrong person, but now now he's trying to lose them and the cops at the same time. So pretty cool. Drive Like Hell. All right, from Ablaze Comics, this one that's kind of okay. So I'm not going to say didn't like it, but I'm definitely going to need another issue or two to see if I can judge it properly. It is about how the world is kind of dying and everything else around it as well too. It's kind of all just kind of dying from whatever it's dying from, radiation because we poisoned it or climate change, whatever you want to call it. And they have discovered that harmonics and sound and that can actually fix and repair that stuff. So they have decided to send, create and send this ultimate band out to use, like I said, the sound to heal the world and that. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It does have some really cool art in that. This one part here we're looking at is the guitar drummer has been set up to space, and they're going to launch him out of a satellite and let him fall through orbit and land on the stage. So this is all the rest of the band setting up on stage, kind of like on an aircraft carrier and that. And like he literally, like I said, they literally launch him on a satellite. He falls all the way down to the stage through orbit, survives, lands, parachutes, and then they have this wicked concert. And again, all this music is supposed to have like this vibrational science that's going to save the world. And then they realize that they're going to have to send them out into space to try and do that as well too. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. See how it goes next couple of issues. Prism. That is the name of the super band they've created as well too. It's called the Prism. Bit of a weird one. We'll follow it up by this one from Oni Press. This one was a lot of fun. I was looking forward to this. The Man from Maybe. This is your typical kind of wandering hero throughout I was going to say the desert, but for like the West. But now it's kind of like apocalyptic. You have this character here, and he has a sidekick that rides with them as an older gentleman. And they're doing their regular things, saving people and that. You got some miners here being attacked by some space aliens like lizards and that. And he ends up riding in and saving them. Kind of a neat character. Definitely a bit of a gory book, even though it has kind of this almost silly cartoon art there. So it does take place in the future. We have this one character there that is almost like a Lone Ranger type, and that's this Tonto type. It's an older miner type of guy, and they go around and help people out. Kind of fun. Always gonna have an enemy show up in there and try to track them down later. Seems like they have previous history. We'll see what happens there. Oh, kind of a neat, fun book. If you like westerns and sci-fi, and kind of like heroes wandering apocalypse, The Man from Maybe. Fun book. From Apex Comics here, we have The Outer Spaceman. This one's kind of a neat book here, and it's very thin, so I didn't expect too much out of it. Has some great artwork in it. Outer Spaceman. This is a book where it's you have this person here that's almost kind of like a watcher, this kind of sentinel robot type of thing. And he's telling a story here about how this team is being formed with all different heroes from all these different multiverses and that. So again, it starts off, I was like, oh, okay, another multiverse story. But it's neat. So the team we're forming here is almost like a team of Green Lanterns, and that where you have all these different aliens and different kind of life forms that are being chosen to become heroes to join this team. And some of these aliens and these heroes and creatures and that are really quite different, quite unique and original. Got some neat stories to them in that. So I'm kind of looking forward to see a little bit more of this. Like I said, I really did like the artwork and that in here too. And I can fit some really different odd creatures here. That's why I kind of think it's more like Green Lantern Corps compared to like say the Justice League here, because just you have so many different types of heroes in that. And again, not all of them have decided. No, just some of them are here. There's still more to come, because at the end of the book here, they do give actually like kind of like data files on everybody, and there's people here that they haven't announced yet. So it's kind of a neat book here. The Outer Spacemen from Apex. It's neat that they're starting to build all these different universes that are a little no different ideas, not the same old stuff rehashed. All right, here's a book here that I want to show you, but I kind of have to show you something else first. Is that one I was talking about from earlier? This one book here is called Bitmap. So this is what the book comes in. It comes in this plastic silver mylar, and then when you open it, there's a book inside. But what I didn't know, and I only found out afterwards, and I think a lot of places still don't realize that, is when you open up this mylar bag, there's one of 3 covers inside there. So I opened up mine, and I was going to actually record it for you guys, but then I forgot when I did it. So the one I actually opened up here gave me this cover here. I don't know if it's like special or anything, but it's one of 3. So this is kind of a neat book and kind of a weird book at the same time. So like I said, it's called it's not called Bitmap. Sorry, I keep calling it Bitmap. It's called Blitmap. Blitmap. And it's got some really neat art in here. It's about this world that seems to be run by 2 life forms, really. One of them seems to be like kind of like AI. Like everything is like people, but it seems to be like kind of animated computers and that. And they live together in the society, also with these things that are called like they refer to them as logos. And I guess they're kind of like more like the life forms in that, the higher ups in that. So they're all kind of hanging out. I guess at kind of like this mall space, and just run errands and that. Kind of a neat story so far. Like I said, you're setting it all up in that. And these 2 groups kind of bump into each other and interact. There's a little bit of tension because, again, like I said, it's like different classes in that. And they end up the groups end up intermingling and joining, and they end up getting sucked in and starting off on an adventure together because that's what happens, right? So now you got this new team, people working together that are kind of opposite attract type of thing, and we'll see where it goes from there. But like I said, it is like these computer life forms working with these other kind of godlike creatures and that. So I don't know what's really going on. It's kind of weird. It does have some neat artwork in that. I'll give it another issue or two just to before I make a judgment in that, just because it is something different and something original. And yeah, they put a lot of effort into it. It's neat. I like it. So far, I like it. Another book that has been getting some great reviews. I quite liked it. It's super dark. This is that Dark Spaces part of the IGW original stuff from that Scott Snyder universe. Um, Hayden Sherman does the artwork, and I'm a really big fan of his stuff here. And it's called Dungeons. And it's about a it starts off that there's this in the forest that this person just basically crawls out of the ground, and it ends up as it was a dungeon. This guy has is like I'm not sure. I guess kind of a serial killer. He kidnaps people and ends up torturing them in death for months and days at a time in all these different hidden places. So we start off with one that's 21 years ago. You see this young person crawl out of the ground. And then it jumps to present day, and you see this person who you figure out eventually, assume it's the same person. He's become like this high FBI agent, and he's still trying to track down this person, this kidnapper that does all this stuff. So he gets called into a case. He's kind of like a profiler in that, and he ends up getting called into a case dealing with this mother who kidnaps her kids. And while he's out there, he ends up getting a phone call that they have found another one of these hidden dungeons in that. So he ends up showing up, and it turns out once him and this other guy start investigating that it's actually the place that he crawled to out of all those years. So they start throwing some flashbacks on just how this guy tortures people and stuff in these dungeons, and now he realizes that this is not only the place that he once was, because when he was a kid, he could never find it again, but he also knows now that the person who does this is aware that he has found this place, and he also knows that the cop who's the main cop chasing him is also a former victim, and he also reaches out and starts tormenting him as well too. So this is definitely going to be turned into a movie or a series of some sort. Definitely a psychological suspenseful thriller. Great book so far. Check it out. Dark Spaces, The Dungeon. Kind of like Saw. A little bit of Saw in there too. All right, we got a few more in here. Something that's a little bit more lighter, not so morbid. From Scout Comics, we got Howie the Hellhound. And it's a fun book here. We have a dog that is a hellhound. He's a hound from hell, exactly what he is, and he manages to escape from hell through a portal and doesn't want to be down there anymore. And he's kind of exploring around, we'll say a city setting, New York type of thing. He ends up coming across a young woman who's always kind of getting, she's very disorganized and whatever, that typical kind of person. And they end up forming a connection, and now she is has this dog. She has this Howie the Hellhound, and of course we have the people from hell, say Satan out there, his henchmen, trying to get this dog back from this lady, and and she's figuring out kind of like what to do with this magical pet. So fun, nothing too wild or crazy. Some great artwork in here too. Some kind of that fun cartoony artwork in that with her and Howie. So check it out. This one actually could be read by families for the kids. That one's not too mature. Another one from Scout Comics. This one here is called The 13 Origins Zoopilot. Again, they're starting up this whole new universe in here, it seems like here, and they introduced this new person here, the Zoopilot. He is Latino, Spanish descent for sure, and he's out there doing his vigilante type of thing, and he's new and he's young at it, and his father knows about it, and he helps him out as much as possible too. But he's just out there trying to do the right thing. He's not necessarily a vigilante in the Batman sense. He's more out there trying to help people. So he realizes that this person here, even though he's running around with an axe and that, it's not because he's a psycho. He's having some kind of mental episode, a psychotic break. So he's trying to help him out that way and get him to surrender the axe, take him into the hospital and that, where the cops just end up shooting him because he's running around with the axe, even though he's trying to defuse the situation in a non-violent way. But like I said, he's a young fella, still trying to deal with it all, and yeah, it's your usual kind of teen superhero, young superhero, dealing with how to be lead a regular life and be a force of good, and at the same time with not just going around bashing people's heads and not being kind of like a vigilante type of thing. So see where it goes. Lots of neat coloring in here, but other than that, nothing wild and crazy. Just kind of fun. Definitely has, like I said, that Aztecian Latino feel to it, especially with the heroes and the villains here. Lastly, from that new publication Distillery, we have a book that's written and art done by Jacques. It's called Gone. It's in the future. The world is definitely suffering. People are not able to survive on what they have. Everyone's about poor in that. So you have these kids that break into spaceships and they steal off what they can. Just they're kind of scroungers and stuff like that. And this one group ends up being not able to get off, and while they're in there, trying to steal some stuff for their families and that supplies, and they end up getting launched off into space. Some of them get killed because there's actually some sabotage going on in that, and there's a few survivors left. One being a young girl who was just there trying to get some stuff for her and her pregnant mother in that, and now it's now they're stuck up on space and she's just trying to survive in there. So she's made a couple relationships with some of the crew members in that while she lives and hides. But at the same time, too, she's constantly being hunted down. So it's neat. Jacques' a great artist. I enjoy his work quite a bit in that. But we'll see where it goes from here. I do like the books that are in these larger prestige sizes and that as well. We'll see where it goes. But it's fun. You see a lot of neat stuff where she travels around through the spaceship, through all these vents and ducts and that, just trying to live and survive. So fun so far. Gone by Jacques from Distillery. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. There was a lot of books there to get through. That's kind of like I like to push around that 20 book mark. Also, get as many indies in there as possible because a lot of things don't get noticed unless you bring attention to them. Hope to see you guys on the weekend, Saturday night. Like you said, there is the tags stuff. Definitely check that out. Like I said, this weekend is Halloween weekend. Hope you guys have a great one as well. If not, we'll see you next week. Peace out.